His last words to me were, "Mom, can you get pens and paper over here? They'd rather have that than food and water."
Only 2 days after Captain Matthew Freeman said those words to his mother, Lisa, he was killed in action in Afghanistan. Now, she describes why she began the foundation in her son's name, the Matthew Freeman Project. One of the project's initiatives, Pens and Paper for Peace, collected 16,000 pounds of school supplies in the past 5 years that were given to soldiers and Marines who were able to give them directly to children in Afghanistan.
Some of my favorite memories are actually seeing the pictures of the soldiers giving these to these children and the smiles on those faces.
Lisa's 2 daughters put their education on hold at the time of their brother's death. Lisa calls siblings the Forgotten Mourners, which sparked the idea to create a scholarship fund for siblings of fallen soldiers. The project has provided 9 scholarships so far.
How many times my daughters told me that people came up and said, "How's your mom? How's your sister-in-law?" And they didn't ask about them. And yet they're the ones who I think, when I look around, probably suffered the most. They missed that older brother terribly.
Another one of the project's initiatives, called Matthew Bears, creates bears for families out of fallen soldiers' uniforms. At one point, Lisa received over 1,000 emails asking for Matthew Bears. Half of the emails were from seamstresses all over the world asking if they could help sew. The Matthew Freeman Project has made over 700 bears for families who lost loved ones, including from combat-related suicides.
I was so afraid of losing that connection that Matt still could make with so many people, and what God's shown me is that, in fact, it touched probably many more than he ever would have if he had maybe been able to still be with us.
In 2009, Captain Freeman married his high school sweetheart, Teresa Hess. 3 weeks later, he volunteered for ground action when he heard the Marines needed more forces. September marks the 10-year anniversary of Matthew's death when he was just 29 years old.
He was just a fun kid to raise because there was never a dull moment. He was always involved in something, and president of the school, and his wife was the vice president of the school. They were good friends, and sadly they had only been married a month when he was killed.
At the end of Captain Matthew Freeman Drive in Richmond Hill sits a memorial dedicated to Matthew in the Bryan County building, so his legacy can live on.
I love it because there's a podium there with a little book that people can write in, and when I go in there to pay my taxes or get license plates or whatever, I stop and read the comments, and I love hearing from past soldiers and Marines, or just people that knew him growing up, and all, "We miss you, Matthew," or "Semper Fi," or whatever it is. The comments are very uplifting.
Matthew's last journal entry is under glass in the memorial, a special yet heartbreaking discovery for his mother.
I didn't let myself read it for about 2 or 3 years. His wife sent it to us, but I couldn't bear the thought of it because it started out, "Mom, Dad, you made me the man I am today. Tell the girls I love them and couldn't be a prouder older brother." But he goes on to talk about, "I do this for my family so they need not fear, or my country so it can be a beacon of light for the entire world, and for myself so that I might know the measure of myself and not be found wanting." It was like a gift to let me know that he was stable and sure of who he was.
It's not hard to tell from the hundreds of loving comments in the memorial book how special of a person Matthew was.
Even when you talk to the men that were with him on the ground, they just loved him because he put them first, made them feel important. And that's just kind of the way he was. And I think one of my favorite things about him was his laughter. He had the best chuckle and laughter of anybody I know.
Lisa says she's thankful she created the Matthew Freeman Project because it got her through the hard times.
It has probably been one of the most meaningful things I've been able to do in my lifetime, and I can see my son smiling down and being very proud.
Reporting in Richmond Hill, Claire Going, WSAV News 3.